Those hands and lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. Now with you, now with you, high. And lights can't stop me. I'll just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. Now with you, now with you, give up this those hands and lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. Now with you, now with you, sky. It's
Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Week 3 Overwatch games. I'm your host, your caster, Cody, getting excited to cast another wonderful day of Overwatch. We got the Madison Eagles playing against the Monterey Whales. Going to be a tough one for them today. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. I think we shouldn't dilly-dally anymore. Again, the Monterey Whales, or Madison Eagles versus the Monterey Whales. We're gonna be on the escort maps here. We've got Dorado as our first map. Gonna be a good one for you. The Eagles coming out. We got a couple substitutions here. We got Captain Calamari, Phantom, Dominate as you're used to, but Vextress coming in from the Marvels there to help on out, make sure that we have a full team. And so Vextress able to play here for the Eagles, replacing Lunar Eclipse. And then we have Waspies as normal and Plurp. So thank you, Vextress, for coming on in and helping out and making sure we have those substitutes. I want to apologize ahead of time for the coverage of the score on the top. We're experimenting with a little new overlays. I hope you guys like it. But until we can make it look perfect, it's going to cover a couple things. So hope that is okay with y'all. Now the attackers are incoming, as the announcer lady said, and it looks like they're holding their ground up ahead, but I don't know if the Eagles were aware. It looks like the Monterey Whales are coming around from the back end, trying to counteract this high ground position. We see the Winston already getting elimination on both the supports as well as a lot of the other players. We just not a lot of eliminations in favor of the Eagles, and they go down pretty swiftly indeed to the Whales, and that's going to allow the Whales to really push through this choke point very effectively. So Eagles going to need to regroup and reconvene, as we do see Monterey Whales proven to be a very tough team indeed, as they all go down very quickly. And so let's check out Captain Calamari here as he goes down very swiftly. Not a lot of healing involved for Captain Calamari. We just have Waspies on point as that May, trying to survive as much as possible, but a lot of damage coming through from the Monterey Whales, and they just kind of annihilate down here. Dominate just getting away with his life just barely, going for that that Mega, and the Monterey Whales just coming through full force. Not much that it looks like the Eagles are able to do. Plurp on the back line getting annihilated by the Whales. This is not looking too hot for our heroes, the Eagles here. Big Reaper Death Blossom coming through, hitting the back line with the help of Lucio, able to get the two supports down. It's going to be a big swing for them. Waspy is trying to survive here. And so now a Diva Bomb coming out from Dominate. It's going to find one, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here, as the Eagles just not finding a lot of headway. This Reaper in the back line getting 3 eliminations. That's a big deal for the Eagles, and a big deal for the Whales, as they are dominating this match. Not something you like to see. Eagles need to try to find some kind of coordination to counteract these high damage outputs. They're just not able to do too much. They need to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit more on the nose and aware of the situation. Flurp, not in a great position here with this tack visor. Gets stunned as a punishment, as well as with the Reinhardt charge. It's going to be a big swing there. And Phantom just trying to survive best he can, but just not able to. And we see, I think we see Waspies on the point, trying to do a little bit of stalling with that Mei ice block as best he can, especially with the wall there, but hasn't ult, can't get it off, gets very quickly eliminated by Sanji. And so that's going to be pretty tough. A big Reinhardt Earthshatter comes out, but no team there to capitalize. Dominate can get in quickly. Death Blossom, though, is ready, and the Eagles just not able to make anything out of it. This is, again, not looking too hot for our heroes this whole match, honestly, as the Eagles just going down without getting a lot of, or any, in eliminations. And I think that just has to do with a little bit of like coordination. So as soon as they aggress, they need to come back just as forceful towards the Monterey Whales. Like the Monterey Whales, what I'm trying to say is the Monterey Whales, if they attack, the Eagles need to recognize that attack and group together so that they can meet the force that the Whales put down. And so far, we just haven't seen that. We haven't seen a lot of just coordinated attack, a coordinated damage coming out from the Eagles. And I think that's just their downfall here. We're going to pause the match real quick as we do see Captain Calamari did leave the game. Oh, and now he is back. So hopefully we'll be able to redo that there, as now he is back in the match, and it looks like we are just fine and dandy now. Now it looks like we do have a slight change of pace here. Going to be pretty tricky as you see the same kind of setup coming from the Monterey Whales. I'm gonna pause here as it still looks like we're gonna be right back as we try to figure this out. I'm gonna check in with the players. So we'll. Oh, actually, I'm seeing this here. We can see the conversation going. Just no. Okay. Now we're ready. There we are. We good now. Alrighty, we are ready to go. We see a little bit of a swap coming out as already we see Waspy is trying to get on that high ground, but the MB Whales with that Reaper just gonna do a lot of damage. It's gonna go back onto the high ground. It does look like the Eagles are electing to try to hold this position, getting through the shield. They have to do some damage to this Reaper that's gonna wreck their back line, and we see Phantom on that charge. Dominate getting a couple eliminations as well as Waspies able to get through. So you see Phantom and Waspies on the point dishing a lot of damage, but that Reaper is tearing through the armor, the shields. Dominate trying to find the hook, manages to find some eliminations. So the Eagles looking pretty strong on this attack. Knock on wood, folks. But it does look like they're very close to getting this objective, but Whales coming back from respawn, a huge charge onto Phantom, unfortunately, as well as Vexrus getting eliminated by the Doomfist. There is a scuffle going about here, but is will the Eagles come out on top? It looks like they have to retreat as Phantom now holds up that shield, trying to survive, just doesn't manage to find it. Dominate in a bad way, trying to find the fabled hook here in a duel with this Lucio. Needs to find those shots. Just not able to do it, but Captain Calamari is here to help out. Unfortunately, Captain Calamari needs to retreat now, gets stuck on that wall. And it looks like the whales have stabilized. So even though that cart is back past them, it does not matter how far the cart goes. It matters how far the enemy team is defending you against. And so we see there is a Death Blossom on this Reaper. It's looking like a juicy one as two go down. And that's going to cue the whales to come in and full force with Sanji. And dominates the last player alive. Just going to have to retreat to spawn. Actually, no, we do see that Waspies is on the point. Getting some eliminations through with that concussive mine. Has to retreat now as the team, the whales are on him. Successfully does so. Dominate, finding a great hook, but not able to find it as the Doomfist is able to retreat using that ult. Huge Earth Shatter finding from the whales. Lots of ults being used for the Eagles. But so are the whales. This Lucio ult combination, lots of combo ults being used, and that's going to be a defeat there as a team wipe comes out. Just about for the whales. As we hear 60 seconds remaining on the clock, and so it's not looking too great for the Eagles, as 60 seconds is not a lot of time at all to be pushing this payload. And right here, looking at where the payload is right now, this is exactly the kind of thing that I was talking about. It does not matter how far that payload goes, because it's going to come back. If you cannot continue with the payload and the defense is able to go past that payload, they're just going to push it back. It goes back very, very, very slowly, but it doesn't matter. It's all about those team fights, and we saw that from the whales, the first fight on the attack. They had a very effective aggression and team fight, and they were able to take the payload, and they just ignored the payload in the first part and then pushed it through. And that's exactly what we're seeing now from the Eagles as they are able to. But the respawn is coming out from the whales. A lot of ults being used, but that backline we saw right there, that was an amazing play coming out from the whales. But the Eagles are still able to hold strong. And 2 players remaining. They just need to get them off as the overtime timer ticks away. Just need to push that payload 3 meters and remove the team, and they do. They get 3 minutes now, or 2.5 minutes remaining for their time. At least a chance to continue through and possibly win this game. You know, maybe I should use my power for good and say, I don't think the Eagles are going to win this game. You know, maybe that jinx will be what we need. And so we see Phantom now holding that shield up, making some space, but someone needs to be on that cart. Or at the very least, they need to commit to something. So, what I want to point out here, Doomfist ult coming out. What I want to point out here, a great play coming out from the Monterey Whales is we saw kind of 2 different splinter groups is what I like to call them. We saw a group of 3 and a group of 3, and the one group of 3 kind of dove the back line and split up the team, and the team just the Eagles were just scattered. They couldn't do a lot against it because of these focused groups of players. And we're just not seeing a lot of that from the Eagles, and I think that's their downfall. This coordinated damage output is exactly what we need for the Eagles, but we're just not quite seeing it come out to fruition. And it is happening a lot for the whales, and that kind of just shows how good the whales are as they are coming through and getting so many eliminations. 60 seconds remaining as we see a lot of individual picks. We see the Mbe Whale, we see the Reaper and the Doomfist diving the backline, getting the the supports, and the supports just can't do much against it because the rest of the team is just not there to assist. And so that's the downfall here. Dominate, though, finding some eliminations with some good use of his abilities. Big ult coming through some Calamari to try to find something, as well as a Doom as a Riptire, but gets eliminated. Plurp on that tag visor, but the Death Blossom with the Graviton Surge is going to be huge for the Membe Whales, and that's going to be a huge fight for the Membe Whales. And with 10 seconds remaining, it's going to be extremely tough for the Eagles to come through. Waspy's trying to touch that point, hold them into that overtime, but unfortunately no one is down. Never mind, Dominate is on that ball, able to hold at the very least. Needs to stay on this point and survive. It's not looking good, as now Captain Calamari and Phantom go down. Plurp does find an elimination, but is it going to be enough? As Plurp does go down, Dominate is the last on there with Waspies as well. Waspies needs to get that damage through, as we know Junkrat can do. I managed to find the Reinhardt as the Eagles are coming back from respawn. We see Phantom on that Reinhardt holding that shield. Needs to start swinging, though, so we can get that damage through and eliminate some of these players. This Baptiste on the high ground is going to be big, as a Death Blossom comes through. Dominates, does survive for the time being, able to touch, but goes down to the Doomfist, and that's going to be all she wrote, as the Whales do take the first round. We see how strong that Reaper was that entire match. Just able to get a lot of accurate shots through. That's going to do so much darn damage. And that is exactly what you want from from like a Reaper character. Go in that back line and just wreck face. And so that's what we saw. And we're hoping to see if the Eagles can come back from that there. We'll see what they can do as they push through to the end. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be very, extremely tough for them to do. But we'll be right back as we get ready for the next match. Stick around, and we'll be right back with that. See you soon. Alrighty, folks, we're coming back right at ya with the next round. Gotta swap them up here. As now the Eagles are on your right in the Havana mode here as we get going. Had a couple different things we had to work through with the team, but hopefully with a quick pep talk, team is raring to go. And so looking for the teams to kind of get together, and like I said the last round, we need a little bit more team coordination coming from them. And so we're hoping that is what's going to solve it. As we saw a lot, the MB Wales always been a tough team since the very beginning of this Overwatch League. We're in the 3rd season of Overwatch, and they've been here. And so that's exactly what we're seeing, as they automatically dive on down to the Eagles, completely annihilating the entire team. And they're just not able to do anything about it. This is the power of the Monterey Whales. And it's going to be really extremely tough for the Eagles to make any sense of it, as a lot of eliminations go through. But this is exactly what I'm seeing. We see Dominate. We see Waspies coming in, getting picked off, just not being with the team to help them out at all. And now the Eagles need to retreat, but they're just not able to make any ifs, ands, or buts about it, as the Eagles kind of getting pushed away from spawn here. Rez comes off. Not gonna. Oh, Dominate though finds an elimination onto Sanji. That's gonna be a big damage output away from the Whales. Able to come through at the very least. But as I was saying, this is exactly the kind of thing that we just can't have. This splinter groups, like right here, we have our supports in the back line just not able to protect themselves very well. They need to be with the team for when the Whales do come through and dive their back line with the 2 huge damage dealing outputs, just like we saw there. You know, we need to see a little bit more group up here and a lot more focus fire coming from the Eagles. But they're doing their darndest. Again, the Monterey Whales have proven to be a very tough team. And so we already see Waspies going down pretty quickly as the Reaper ult comes in the back line to deny it. But in the meantime, we see Plurp and Dominate going through, getting some eliminations. But at what cost? At what cost? As now the Dominate finds another elimination. Well played from Dominate, though. It excuse me. It really just comes down to at what cost. So now the ball is diving, and so we see, ooh, Bongo on the cart. We see right here, this ball is diving the back line. The supports need to back up, and because they need to back up so much, the front line that's getting also pushed extremely hard by the Whales is not able to get that healing that they need, because the back line is being dived by this ball. And so the entire team altogether, supports, all of them need to play a little bit more close so that they can better support each other. And so this is exactly what we want. We want Vextress to stay in and keep that healing going, but use those abilities to stay alive and move around. Captain Calamari, as that Orisa, just not able to see that as much. So now we see Waspies on the point. This is very extremely dangerous for him, as he is the lone person on the team. Sure, there is only 20 seconds remaining you need to touch at this point, but as you see, Waspies goes down pretty quickly against the Mbe Whales team. And that's just going to be a big defeat there, as now there's down to player. It's all about that coordination. Can't blame them. This is a fairly new team. Eagles, it's the what? Week 3. We're only a third of the way through the season. And so a third of the way, just about. Getting to the halfway point soon. Well, I guess we have 8 whole games. 9 weeks, 8 whole games. No, there's 9 games. And so here we are. Going to be extremely tough for the Eagles. Monterey Whales have proven to be a tough contender. And that's that. I want to cut these kids a little bit of slack too, as we do know that a couple players had to be swapped out, and so there are players that just aren't as familiar with the other teammates, and so we're trying to they're moving roles a lot as well, which is not something we like to see, as we want them to focus a little bit more on each role that they can focus on. And get that skill, but because of all the swaps, a lot of holidays going on, a lot of summer events, and so it really comes down to those players that coming through. Looks like the Eagles are electing to hold a pretty lax position here. They do know that once this cart goes to this golden box, they are going to lose it. And so I'm surprised to see that they did not try to hold as far as possible. But we do see Waspies coming in, getting elimination, but it gets traded off. But a res from Vexrus onto Waspies keeps them alive. Dominate in the back here, trying to fight. Ooh, a big stun grenade coming out. And a big wall as well for, Dominate. Trying to finish him off away from that wall. But gets a little greedy, probably. And some eliminations go out. Even the Ana from the MB Whales is able to get some eliminations from them. We see the Widow on that back line able to get a lot of damage through. Plurp, though, pushing through, getting the Baptiste as the last person alive, and unfortunately it looks like just able to touch barely, and it looks like Vexrus just has to retreat, not able to touch, and that will be the Whales round. And that's going to be the Whales game. See Plurp getting that play of the game here. Diving through, getting a huge pin off onto them, as well as a big Earth Shatter, leading to a double Fire Strike kill. That's what we like to see. And so that is going to be it for us. We're going to see if we go to a third match here. We'll get ready for that. We're just going to get right into it as soon as we can for the third. We'll be right back as we get set up for that. Stick around.
Cause those hands and lights can't stop me. I just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. Now with you, now with you, that I get when looking down from the sky. It's me now. Can't give up. hands and lights can't stop me. I'll just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. I'm with you. Give up this those hands and lights can't stop me. I'll just hold on for dear life. Yeah, I can't give up this feeling that I get when looking down from the sky. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Alrighty, y'all. That's gonna call it. We're not gonna go to a third. It looks like the Eagles do not want to take their chances against the Monterey Whales. Monterey proved to them that they are a strong team, and the Monterey team are going to take that game. So Madison Eagles take a big loss here, an unfortunate loss against the Monterey Whales. But this is going to be a great opportunity for all of the Eagles, all of the players there to come back and use this as a great learning opportunity. There's a lot of good things that we saw from the Eagles, from the Monterey Whales as well, that maybe we can use them as a great example to learn from. I want to inform you guys about what else we got going on today. So in about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, we're going to be setting up for the Fortnite game. We got the last Fortnite Battle Royales coming at you. Got gold at 3, silver at 4, just like you're used to. For that, the last one is going to be triple the points for this time around. So it's going to be a big deal for these teams. We also got, after that, at 5 o'clock, we have the Marvels, the Madison Marvels Overwatch team playing against the Franklin Knights. Another tough team from the Franklin side, other side of the country. But I think we're looking forward. I'm definitely looking forward to a tough match coming out from them as we set up for that. So stick around for that. We have a lot more coverage of our XPL Madison stuff coming right at you. I also got a pretty cool video for you to show as we set up. I want to remind you that we have the regional tournament coming up very, very soon. And so this is a quick thing that the XP League has put together to show you a little bit about that. Check it out.